Welcome back to another episode of Giving All of My Experience. I am your host, Rashaad.
And I'm your host, Chade.
And today we are discussing small wins and how small wins can help you mentally, physically, and spiritually, and financially. Like how I did all those actuallys at the end. Yeah. I don't know. I just made something up. Yeah, so we apologize for not talking to you guys last week. For the people who know me personally, my birthday was last Friday. Was it last Friday? The Friday before.
Yeah, the Friday before.
So May the 9th. And then we had Mother's Day weekend. Our schedule just got way out of hand. So we never got a chance to sit down, discuss what we may want to talk about. So we just was like, all right, no episode this week. But we want to get back on track with you guys. And like I said earlier, today we are discussing small wins. And I felt like this topic was pretty smooth because we was talking about this today on the phone. We was talking about small wins. And we was talking about just our spiritual journey in the midst of our small wins. And one of my small wins, I would say over the past 2 weeks, as you just reminded me, was that in the past 2 to 3 months, I'll say since the beginning of this year, I ain't even gonna say the past 2 to 3 months. Since the beginning of this year, we have been consistently being inconsistent with our takeout budget. Mm-hmm. And as much as we talk about budgeting and being financial savvy, not making smart decisions, we weren't doing that. We weren't doing that.
In that category.
Yeah, in that category, we weren't doing that. We would order out all the time. And for the past, yeah. We're gonna take the blame on that. I'm cool with that. But so for the past 2 weeks, it's been the exact opposite because we have made more of a point of emphasis on market shopping. It's alleviated the fact that we have to order out because we've stocked the house. So I love the vending machine. Sade loves Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, but I love the vending machine. And I get cookies, Gatorade, stuff like that. So I went to Sam's Club and I just brought plethora of snacks for the house for me to put inside of a lunch bag, put inside of a market bag, so that avoided me spending any money. And so what we did was to celebrate that win was Fridays we go to lunch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it kind of turned into other things like we said and we talked about how our emergency fund is almost back at 100% in less than 30 days. Yeah. You know, we talked about in a couple episodes ago about how we had to deplete our emergency fund because of car issues and there's other stuff we had going on at home, and to then turn around not even 30 days later to have it replenished, it was definitely dope. Just my small win spiritually is just perspective. I just have a very different perspective on where I was at the beginning of the year to now. And now I pass the baton over to you. What's your small financial win and your spiritual win? You don't I didn't want to elaborate on it because I know we're going to talk more about it as the episode goes, but yeah.
Said one of them. So I love Dunkin' Donuts. I love their coffees. I love their treats. And I'll get it at any given time, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon. I will walk my butt up to Dunkin' Donuts and get me a donut and a coffee. But I've stopped doing that. And I also have a thing for Chick-fil-A. So I've stopped myself from ordering Chick-fil-A. Like when I say it was almost every day, it was just about every day.
Yeah, mine was the chicken mini meals.
Spicy chicken sandwich with pepper jack cheese and a large fry. So that was my craving. I would blame it on Chloe, but I think I was doing it way before that. So I've stopped doing that, and the amount that we've saved just over the past 2 weeks, just us, like Rashaad said, we've been consistent with going market shopping. Snacks have also been my thing. Like, I love to snack. Like, I can snack all day long. So him putting like our favorite chips, our favorite cookies and stuff like that inside the house, it minimized the amount that I was also spending on snacks throughout like throughout the week. So
yeah, we was just spending bread.
Yeah, like I said, we have been really disciplined in other areas.
Yeah, every time we would meet with Matthew would be like, "What's going on, guys?" The takeout budget.
Our takeout budget has always gotten us in trouble when it comes to our financial calls with our financial advisor. Everything else would be green, like in good standards.
We always got to explain the takeout.
But we always have to explain the takeout, and Rashaad was like, "This has just been a bad month." And then last time, I think he was like, "Well, you said that last time." And that's when it really hit us, like, we had to get it together. Like, our market shopping budget would be not even, like, it would be halfway.
Yeah, now this month we over $200.
We over the $200 threshold of us spending actually doing market shopping. So I'd rather it be that than fast food. But spiritual, I would say, just take from your, like, having a different perspective. Having that different perspective from the beginning of the year to now, how God is just like really, like He's really orchestrating. He has always been the center of our lives, but this year alone, because we started out this year strong with a financial, like with an emergency fund replenished. We were like bills getting paid on time. You know, we were feeling like we were setting goals
to really start knocking
down our debt. Yeah. So when those bumps came in the beginning of the year, it made us feel like, what are we doing wrong? Why are we being punished? So we had to reshift our mindset. And it has just been more clarity, more wisdom, more understanding, not on our perspective, but on God's perspective of what He's trying to do for our lives.
Yeah, like,
so before I get too deep in, I'm going to just stop right there.
No, like, I mean, even down to our, I'll say our virtual spiritual leader and Eric Thomas and Pastor Titus, mm-hmm. their last month it's been about realignment. Yes. And at times I feel like when you're not in alignment, we spend so much time trying to read self-help books, read like self-help articles, maybe we listen to like a motivation podcast or some daily devotionals or something like that, and you're listening to it to try to trick yourself into realignment, but it doesn't work. And what I mean by that is that, like you said, for these past couple months, things have just been a little off. And then I would even say the beginning of this month, things started off a little rocky. Even though we started off on the right foot, things still started off rocky. And then it was like, for me, I didn't take into account just until today when I was listening to Eric Thomas' sermon, that it's like, bruh, they've been talking about realignment since May. Like, that's what's been the main message. And we were literally on the phone today talking about realignment. And it just let me know that spiritually, I was here, I was like aware, I was observant, I was listening, but I wasn't being obedient to the sermons that I was hearing. I wasn't being obedient to the messages that I was receiving. And I really feel like that we as people should develop like core values. Like we were just talking about it before the podcast about like what is our core values, and we really couldn't come up with it. But I know like I'll say mine, and I'll let you do yours. Like I know mine's is I have a daily financial meeting with myself. This is no slight to Chade, to my men and my women out there who listen. This is not a slight to your significant other or the person that you're in a relationship with. It's just that sometimes you got to make sure things are intact. And with me being the financial leader of the house, I have daily meetings with myself. I wish I had my Palm Palette down here. I told Messiah to take it upstairs. But I have this green notebook that I carry with me, and I keep the pen inside the notebook. I take that joint to work with me every morning, and I bring it home. As soon as I come downstairs to do any unwinding, chilling, that book goes with me. Because if I see something on the internet that maybe I want to add into the budget, maybe we get an unexpected bill in the mail when we got home from work, I want to write all that stuff down, not only for my knowledge, but for when I sit down with my financial advisor, we know what we need to start to tackle. And then on top of that too, I'm very particular when it comes down to the budget. Like, she'll tell you, I hate being off by cents.
Yeah.
So, like...
Don't let me say something that he didn't know. He'd be like, Chade, I put it down to a T. Now you're messing up my numbers. Now I got to go back to the green book just so that I can do this right. And I'm like, I'm looking at it like, I just, like, I'm letting you know that this is what I spent. And he was like, no, but that's not the point. The numbers that I had in my head is now I go back and I look, and the numbers is not there. I'm like,
okay. Yeah. What she said. So what would be one of your core values that you feel like that you've developed over these past 90 days? Because that's really what the storm's been. It's been the past 90 days.
I would say just being intentional with my prayers. When I say intentional, I mean like I pray, so I praise God first. I praise Him for the things that I already have. I repent of anything, any sins, whether word, deed, or thought, and then I'm actually going through the acronym, so it's PR, and then I
acknowledge,
yeah. That's not but that's a better word for it. So I acknowledge where I'm at, and it's actually ask. That is it. So I ask God for like anything that I'm going through, like just to give a little bit of being a little bit transparent tonight, is that I had a letter come in the mail, I think maybe like 2 weeks ago, and from an old credit card that I maxed out, of course, was being young.
Dumb and out of control. Go ahead, finish the baby boy line. Dumb and out of control.
So
just like you, Jody.
Yes, oh my gosh. But I was being that, and it has caught up with me. Needless to say, it has caught up with me. I have no choice but to pay these people. Or else they're going to take me to court for probably not more, but I have no choice but to pay these people.
Yeah,
so, last week, it was like, I was going through a mental trying time, but I had asked God to just help me to focus on Him. Not to focus on the thing that is in front of me, because I know that He's bigger than this paper. I know that He's bigger than these lawyers. So just asking God for any type of guidance, whether I'm going through a tough moment, whether I'm going through depression, whether I'm going through anxiety. So the A is for ask. And it can be for acknowledgement as well. And then the Y is to yield myself to Him. To just like put it all like, God, I give you these burdens that I have because I don't want them, because they serve me no good. So I give them unto you, and I'm going to allow you to take it all. And literally being that way has also made me listen, pay more attention to my kids. Because yesterday I brought it to Rashaad, and I was like, I don't want to say that I want to critique their prayer, because I think that all children's prayers, like, it should be innocent.
It's unique because it's not forced.
Because it's not forced. But I feel like God has now nudged me to say, hey, now that you are intentionally praying, how about we try to teach the kids how to intentionally pray over the things that they are going through? Because your kids go through things, regardless if you think that they're just a kid or not. They have outside things that they go through in school with teachers, with peers, and stuff like that. So I feel like it is our job as parents, and if you're in a Christian household, that you should teach your children how to intentionally pray. Now, tonight we were supposed to have that meeting, but we had our chore meeting tonight. So tomorrow we're going to have a small brief conversation about how, like, I want to ask them, what does prayer mean to you? Before I just put out my spiel to them, I want to know in their brains, what does prayer mean to you? And what do you think when you pray, what will happen? Just to kind of get their perspective. But that's basically what, like, spiritual-wise, I've been more intentional. And
so your core value is intentional prayer? Intentional prayer,
because it helps. And sometimes y'all got to pray at least 3-4 times a day, because my job can be a little overwhelming. So being intentional in my morning, being intentional throughout my day, whatever I'm going through, and yeah, being intentionally praying.
Yeah, with us having our little yapathon right there, what are some core values that maybe you have? Like mine's is, like I said, I have daily financial meetings with myself. That's one of my biggest core values. I really don't have a list of other ones. I'm not gonna sit here and be phony and be like, I got 1, 2, 3. That's really my biggest one, is that I know for sure on a daily basis, my green notebook is like my phone. Like, that joint is with me. And if I don't have it, I'm coming home with some sticky notes attached to my wallet, or I'm gonna have a new notepad.
I got this, something like this, got that, and all these different numbers. He was like, all right, I gotta add this to the book and this to the book. Because he's serious about those numbers and making sure that thing. So,
and yours is intentional praying. So.
And I had to, and don't let it be a morning like. Like, I mean, today I was able to do a small prayer. Now, y'all don't have, your prayers don't have to be as long, but I like for mine to at least be 10, 15 minutes of intentional prayer. That is my goal. But this morning, I had only 5 minutes to give it all to God. But that, and I think I would say our other thing spiritually that we do together is that we listen to the prayer on YouTube.
Yeah, the daily devotion.
We listen to that every day.
And them things be spot on too.
Spot on.
Yeah, they be spot on.
I've had, and Rashaad too can vouch for it, had prayer that morning, and I would listen to their prayer, and I'd be like, shut up. Like, are you serious?
Shut the front door.
No, that's what I was about to say, but I thought she was going to say it was corny. Like, shut the front door. Like, are you serious right now? This is what I prayed for this morning, and to know that I'm also listening to someone else's prayer, it just makes me feel like I already know that God is affirming me and confirming the things that I'm asking for and the things that I prayed over. But listen to that, I'd be like, whoa. Like, yeah. I'm in alignment with what God is like positioning me for, basically.
And I'm glad you said that. Perfect segue. Perfect segue. So I'm glad you said that as far as what God is preparing you for, because it was something that you said earlier when you just talking about small wins. So small wins in perspective, to me, it kind of like intertwines. And the reason why I say that is that you hit it on the nose when you say your perspective. At the beginning of the year, we were like singing like the woe me, why me song. And kept asking God, like, what are we doing wrong? Are we being punished? Like, are you forsaking us because of all the stuff that's going on? And then Pastor Thomas was talking this past Sunday, and he talked about how we need to stop looking at things as God is punishing us, but God is simply preparing us. And what we didn't know was that all them haymakers that we took at the beginning of the year, and then we started getting realigned, and now we putting money into our emergency fund again. Our bills never wavered in the midst of that storm. The thing that we didn't celebrate, we didn't even pay attention to. Right. It may be small in the grand scheme of things, but it was the biggest thing of them all, was that our bills never wavered. It didn't rock. Nothing went past due. It was just that our emergency fund dipped. But the thing we never put into perspective is, just imagine if we never built the foundation. Ooh. And that's what I think people forget about, is that that's a small win. Yeah, emergency fund is the biggest thing of them all, because that's like your cushion, that's your bottom line, that's your safety blanket. But at the same time, it's like we spend so much time focusing on the haymakers, that we're not even focusing on the small thing. Our bills never went past due. Nope. Our bills never went past due. And our biggest thing was, in the past, is when we had catastrophic things happen, we had to take away from a bill just to make ends meet. And now you're looking at it that it's like, all right, boom, bills never wavered, emergency fund got depleted. Now we fast forward 30, 45 days later, our emergency fund's damn near back at 100%. Yeah. And it's just like, I want people out there to understand that you need to check your perspective first before you start to recognize the small wins. Because even though life is hitting you hard as hell right now, I know it's probably hitting you hard. If you just sit back, pause, look at where you at in the grand scheme of things, I guarantee you'll realize, like, bro, I'm really not doing that bad.
You'll find God's grace and His mercy.
Like you realize, like you look at it like, bro, I'm really not doing as bad as I thought I was. No. And that goes back to stuff that we talked episodes in the beginning. Give yourself grace. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of our other core values, giving ourselves grace. And one of the things that I love this word because this word can be used in the finance world and it can be used in the spiritual world, the compound effect. When you start to compound things, you start to put into perspective, you start to compound them small wins, then all of a sudden, I feel like your ego, your pride, your confidence, whatever you want to say, your aura, it gets to 100% when nothing bothers you. And what I mean by that is that she just said to y'all last week she just said to you today that last week she was in a mental funk where things wasn't going right for her. Then she wound up getting that notice saying, hey, you owe us some money. And she was in here sitting here beating herself up. And the first thing I said to her is when I seen the letter, I looked at the amount. I wasn't being cocky or nothing like that. I just looked at her. I said, oh, we'll pay that. And I looked at her and I said to her, you got to stop beating yourself up. It's okay. We're going to get hit. Just get back up. That's all. It's really just that simple. It sounds so cliche, but it's really that simple. Life will hit you. Sometimes that joint might hit you with a 3-piece. You just gotta get back up. And that, I know I got way off the compound effect. That was crazy. But no.
It all comes together.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It all comes together. But yeah, what I mean by that is just you compounding your small wins. And you build this shield, this bubble that's about you where things are starting to just not affect you the way it used to, because you know that God is with you in every step of the way. And one of the things, this is off topic for today's episode, but one of the things I've noticed over the past few weeks is that I work with a lot of people who don't believe.
Say it again.
And for me, I'm not gonna lie to you, I know most Christians that get uncomfortable around people like that. Me, I enjoy it.
I'd feed me more, please.
So, that's me. No, the reason why I enjoy it is because they don't know what I know. And then on top of that too, I enjoy it because I feel like me talking about it so much, me talking about my story, me talking about Zion passing away, and then we finding out 3 days after she passes away that we got another child, and then this child's birthday is the same day as this child. It's like, right, there's no way you're telling me that he don't exist. But I digress. That's another episode for another day. That's another episode for another day. But what I would encourage people to do is just get realigned. Take a pause, take a deep breath, take a step back, and look at your life. Recognize the small wins. Like I said earlier, we went 2 weeks, Monday through Thursday, where we did not spend any money on any snacks, fast food, anything like that. So we treated ourselves on Friday. That was our micro celebration. But then as soon as we treated ourselves on Friday, we didn't turn around on Saturday and treat ourselves. We didn't turn around on Sunday and treat ourselves. We went right back to the tent. And I think that's what people don't do, is that when they finally get that micro celebration, they get on that high, they still be on the high throughout the weekend. And it's like, no, you gotta whip right back into focus. And that just comes with your daily bread, your daily perspective. You talking to God on a daily basis, you doing whatever your ritual is to help you realign. And I know that this is a Christian podcast, but I am very realistic. If that's you sitting down having a bottle of wine, or if that's you sitting down with some scotch or some nice R&B music, or you hitting your blunt, whatever it is for you, whatever floats your boat, we're not here to judge whatever your tactic is. But whatever makes you pause and be able to reflect on your life and add perspective, I encourage you to do it, because it will save you so much warfare up here. So much warfare up here.
It's a dangerous place.
Yes, it is.
But you said some things like alignment and obedience. And our pastor, he always says obedience is greater than, is it far greater than sacrifice, or is it greater than sacrifice? It's one of those sayings, like, And, that's something I've been saying a lot, like being obedient. And being obedient means just like you're following God's plan. You're not, and you may think, it may seem like it's your plan, but I truly believe that because we pray daily, we have these daily spiritual rituals, these are not our plans. These are God's divine plans for us. So when you be obedient to God's plan and you listen to those small whispers, and they will be sometimes small, where so you may think that you're hearing things, but you're not. That is God whispering sweet things to you. When you pay attention to those nudges, that is God nudging you. Be obedient with God's plan, because if you do that, everything else will follow. You won't have to worry about anything. You being obedient is making sure that you're in alignment with His plan that He has for you, because we are shells here. We're shells here. We were sent here for a purpose. But this body that we have is not, it's not like, it's just a shell. So while you're here, think of it like that. Like, use this temple that you have, this, however you look at yourself, and be obedient to God's plan, because the things that you desire, that your heart's desires, that you want, the general curses that you want to break, if you be obedient, He'll align everything else for you so that you can get the things that your heart desires.
And then He gonna start dropping. Like that, my man, what's his name? Is it James Wood off of Family Guy? When they like, ooh, piece of candy. When you start following His divine plan, He just dropped the candy right there for you.
He used to say pieces of bread.
Yeah, you make a full loaf too. Yeah, He definitely drops some crumbs down the way so you can make a full loaf. And one of the things I encourage people to do is to just ask yourself, what small win did you accomplish this week? If it was financially, if it was physically, maybe you went to the gym. If it was spiritually, maybe you went to church consistently for the first time in the last month. Whatever it was, what was that small win and how do you intend to celebrate it? And then I would ask, how do you pause to see your progress? Remember, I just said to you, some people, they may sit back and drink a bottle of wine. Some people may got their scotch, listen to some R&B. Maybe you like to cook and reflect. I know I do all those things I just named. How do you pause and see your progress? And what challenges are you facing today that you aren't praying about? I think that's the biggest thing. Is what challenges are you facing today that you aren't praying about? You got any questions out there that people should be asking themselves?
Not any questions. I'm not. I can never come up with a question quick enough. I can always come up with like an answer, except for no, that's a lie, because I don't ask a question for the question.
All right, so I got something for Sade, even though Sade ain't come up with it. I got for Sade's sake. Put your favorite verse.
Put your favorite verse. Pregnancy right now. So. Put your favorite verse. Put your favorite Bible verse. What is it?
In the comment
section. Okay. Well, I was supposed to say, put your favorite Bible verse on a sticky note or on a post-it card and stick it up on your wall and read that daily. That's what I was supposed to say. I was
clearly it's time for us to wrap this up, because Sade she's about to start being goofy. She's about to start being, she's just about to start being herself. So if this episode resonated with you, I hope you enjoyed. I just would like for you to like, share, and comment. If you have a friend that's just going through mental warfare, they don't know how to embrace their small wins, you may see the progress, because sometimes the people from the outside will see the progress more than the person who's in the storm. So maybe you have a friend, a family member, a brother, sister, whatever. I just encourage you to send this to somebody who may need a mental boost. I hope you enjoyed today's yapping session. I think today was a yapping session. The reason why I say it's a yapping session is just because of the simple fact that this wasn't scripted. We didn't figure out what we was going to be talking about until literally before we turned the camera on.
Those are the best ones.
That's why I said it was a yapping session.
No, I think just free write.
Free write.
That's a battle. That's.
You got no talk time in Curtis words.
I can't say it. I don't even know what that means.
We will see you guys next week. We enjoy you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy the shorter episode this week, and this episode is going to be fairly short. Until next time, I am your host, Rashaad.
And I'm your hostess, Chade.
And remember that experience shared is experience multiplied. We will see you guys next week. Be blessed.